recording. We're going to be having a question and answer session at the end, but if at any time you have any questions during the session, feel free to just put them in the chat box and we will definitely get to those questions at the end of the meeting when we do our Q&A. We're going to start with introductions of the SPP School of Public Policy folks who are here, staff and students. Then we're going to talk about programs, the different programs that we have. We're going to hear from some current students. We'll hear about internships and funding, and then we will leave time for questions at the end. So I thought we'd start with introductions. My name is Satu Zoller. I'm the Associate Director for Academic Programs at the School of Public Policy in Amherst, Massachusetts. I'm currently located in Deerfield, Massachusetts, which is about 10 miles north of Amherst. And Ayla asked me to share a fun fact. A fun fact is I have a house full of people Zooming. So kids and 3 kids who are all Zooming and a spouse who sometimes is here Zooming, and it's making me crazy. So Ayla, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. My name is Ayla Thorntona. I am a current Master of Public Policy student at UMass, and I'm also the graduate assistant for research and admissions. So kind of staff, mostly student. I'm in the 2nd year of the MPP because I did the 4+1. So I'll be talking about that a little bit later. But thanks for being here. I'd love to answer any questions you have.
Crystal, you're next on my screen.
Hi, everyone. I'm Crystal Green. I'm a 2019 alum in the dual degree MPPA in Higher Education Master's Program in the School of Public Policy. Currently, I'm the Admissions and Academic Programs Manager in the School of Public Policy. And a fun fact for me is I'm a stepper/dancer. And so I love that a lot. I miss that actually a lot. And it's really good to see you all and to really share our programs that we can offer for you all. And I'm really, really happy and excited to see your faces and can answer any questions at the end for sure.
Great, thank you so much, Crystal. Adrian.
I'm learning things about people. I don't know any, I'm like, wow, yes. What's my fun fact? I don't know. I have crystals in my pockets right now of my blazer. This is just one of many blazers that I own and adore. My name's Adrian Nunez. I am a 2nd year Master of Public Policy and Administration student, and I'm glad to be here. Excited to share more.
Great, thank you, Adrian. And Marcy.
Hi everyone, my name is Marcy Mulkey. I am a 2012 SPP and MBA grad, and I am the Special Projects Manager. I teach our professional development class and do other student experience work. And fun fact, in the last 2 weeks, I've gotten to connect current students with 2 fabulous alumni working in really exciting jobs, and just love current students connecting with our alumni and getting to see and learn about and network with people doing amazing work.
Awesome. Thank you so much, all of you. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about who we are, and then we're going to talk more about the actual graduate programs. So again, with the School of Public Policy at UMass Amherst, we're located in Western Massachusetts. For those of you who aren't in Massachusetts, we're close to the Vermont border, a couple hours from Boston, just a few hours from New York. We just became a school just a couple of years ago. Prior to that, we were a center of public policy. But we've been growing. We've become a priority of the university. So we've been on a pretty exciting growth trajectory. We're hiring 9 or 10 new faculty just in the next few years. We're hiring new staff. We're developing more programs, and we're soon going to add an undergraduate program to our existing graduate program. So that's some exciting things going on. Our student numbers have also increased pretty dramatically in the last several years. Pretty much 30% growth over the last several years in new students. We'll get into more details about the programs shortly. We also have exciting partnerships across campus. So we have joint degrees with the Business School, the School of Public Health, which are the other ones, the School of Education and the School of Planning. And we'll talk more about those in a little bit as well. But now, Ayla, I think we can start our PowerPoint. We don't want to bore you with the PowerPoint, but it just illustrates some of the great things we're doing. And Crystal will tell you about our programs.
And so I'll share our lovely PowerPoint.
Oh, Crystal, sorry.
Let me get it real quick. Okay. Beautiful. Can everyone see it?
Yep.
Awesome. And so first, I would like to talk about our first year, our 1-year MPP program, which is really for students who are looking to get into the public and nonprofit sectors that's really looking to make positive social change. It is a 37 credit program, and we have amazing options for juniors and seniors. For our juniors, we have our 4+1 accelerated MPP program, where you all, if you get into the program, you all will start taking some graduate courses in your fall semester. For our seniors, they will start their courses beginning the summer after their graduate year. So for example, if you did get into the 4+1 program as a junior, you'll start your courses fall 2021. And for seniors, if you got into the program, you will begin taking your courses summer 2021. Next is our 2-year MPPA program, which is a little bit more extensive. It's 48 credits, and it's open to applicants who have completed a bachelor's degree. We do offer some options also for full-time and part-time students. We also have amazing dual degree opportunities that Satu mentioned. So we have our amazing partnership with the higher education department, the business school, regional planning, and public health. I'm a grad of one of the dual degree opportunities, and I would say I really encourage students to take advantage of this because you typically can get 2 masters within a 3-year span. And so before we go to our next slide, yes. And so I would say that the School of Public Policy is really adamant about creating a curriculum that integrates this theoretical but practical applications for students. And so as you can see, in the MPP program, we provide you all with this policy seminar, which is more so of a grounding course to really get you more exposure to the policy realm. We also offer this professional development seminar that we'll have Marcy kind of expand on later throughout this slide. And then as you can see for the MPPA program, we have this capstone project that we have students do to really kind of synthesize what they learn within their internships and within their classrooms, right? But one of the major difference between each program is that the MPPA, we require you to take some more core courses and electives that really align with some of your policy interests. And so before I go to the next slide, I will have Ayla kind of expand more on their experience with the MPP program, and then I'll have Adrienne talk a little bit more about their experience with the MPPA program as well.
Yes, so as Crystal mentioned, the MPP has 2 different major tracks. So the first one is the 1 year, which is open to anyone, meaning outside of like the Amherst area. Think of anyone who's come from any college. You do have to take courses in the summer, which is a little bit different than my experience. Some are entering the program, and the requirements are the same, except for the trajectory of when the schedule happens of your courses is going to look a little bit different. So I'll explain it in my personal experience. I did the 4+1, like I mentioned, which means that as a senior in college, I took three graduate classes that all contributed to this degree. And I applied to the program junior year. So it's now it's like 2 years ago, which is crazy, but I really appreciate the ability to do the 4+1 for a couple of different reasons. It was really cheap for me. I only pay for that 1 year of grad school, which I'm technically getting 2 years. And then I also got to take graduate classes when a lot of my fellow classmates didn't have that opportunity, and I got to take classes that I felt prepared me a lot for this degree. The workload is a little bit different, obviously, than my undergrad experience, so I felt like I had a good, smooth way of knowing what I need to prepare for, how much work it's going to be for me, and to know if I can do 5 classes a semester or if it's too much or whatnot. Another thing I really appreciated was that the MPP program offers classes that my undergrad did not. So I really recently just came into this passion for technology and social justice as one field. And I was like, I think that's kind of weird. We're not going to have that. Like, that sucks for me, because I had an internship last summer in the House of Representatives, and I found it there, but I was entering grad school and I was like, there's no way MPP will have this. And then I got to actually take a class in social inequalities in technology, and I could not believe how much it applied to what I'm interested in. So there's a couple different reasons why I was appreciative of the 4+1. If anyone's here who's a sophomore or a junior, feel free to ask me any questions about that, and I'll explain more about my personal experience. If you have any questions about the difference between either track of MPP, please let me know as well. And at the end, we can talk more specifically about it.
I do just want to add quickly that the 4+1 is for students from UMass or the 5 colleges only at this time. Just
very important. Thank you.
About that. Sure.
Thank you.
I guess I'll go ahead and jump in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I actually started off in the 1-year MPP program. And I came to UMass through a slightly different path. I actually had been serving on my local school committee here in Greenfield, Massachusetts for several years. And I was coming to the end of my second term and really wanted to have a chance to explore public policy in an academic setting. I also wanted to have a credential to match my lived experience and just kind of pair well with that and open up some opportunities for me. And so that's why I had been eyeing the MPP and the MPPA program for a while. And then the timing was just right. So I went ahead and applied and jumped right in. And I was really eager to complete the MPP in 1 year and just kind of like go through, get everything I could from it, and then jump back in to kind of like a career path, or something that felt like more of a career path than serving in my elected office. But what happened was I got there and I just really loved it. So I just was having so much fun in all of my classes, really enjoying the coursework, enjoying the offerings. Also, I had the opportunity, because of the way that my classes were set up, to engage with some of the kind of the rising MPP students. I ended up meeting Ayla and some other folks that were in their senior year, and it was great. I just felt like I had expanded my academic community and my public policy community. And so yeah, what happened was I just decided, even though I had completed all the requirements for the MPP, that I wanted to stick around. I really wanted a little more time to play. I really wanted some more time to dive deeper. I definitely am looking forward to the capstone project, which I will be taking on next semester. And because I decided to stick around for a little while, I had the opportunity to have an internship in my first summer and also an internship in my second summer. So I feel like I've really benefited from having just a little bit more time. And in this second year, I've been able to kind of relax into different topics and just dive deeper, while also meeting yet another group of awesome SPP students that were coming in fresh this year. So yeah, that's where I'm at, and I'm definitely happy to answer any questions and share a little more about my internship experiences, etc., whenever later, Q&A or whenever.
Thank you, Adrian and Ayla, for sharing. And so before I go to the next slide, I also just want to clarify. So for the 4+1 program, you will begin graduate courses the fall semester of your undergraduate senior year. And so I just want to clarify that. All right, and so as I mentioned previously, one of our requirements for both MPPA and MPP students is our internship. And so this internship process is really completely guided by students' interests and their policy interests and what they're hoping to get out of that, but they are not alone. We have amazing staff and faculty who are there to help you and connect you with amazing alumni and professional networks. Here are some examples of our recent internship placements. One of my internships that I had the opportunity to do was at the Post-Secondary National Policy Institute in Washington, D.C., which was a nonprofit organization that provided professional development opportunities for current and prospective policymakers. And it was a fully funded internship experience. And here you also can see there were some students that had the amazing opportunity to be in India, to work in Virginia, and also to work home in Massachusetts. And I'll give the floor again to Ayla and Adrian to kind of expand on their internship experience.
Yes, thanks, Crystal. So this past summer, a couple months ago, I did an internship with CAP, which is a civic action project, and Adrian actually did it with CAP too, so she'll talk more about her experience. But what CAP is, it's a fully funded internship, which I was really, really appreciative of, especially during times of COVID. Things were crazy, and they still funded everyone. It was all online, which I don't think would be your experience, depending on what happens next year, but it was for us. CAP was pretty much a weekly seminar on Thursdays where we got to meet with the founders of the program and the rest of the cohort. There was like 20 of us total. We'd come together for a couple hours on a Thursday, talk to policy actors. That could be public relations, politicians, people working in criminal justice, or journalists and things like that. And the people that we had, I just like could not believe we were talking with them. Like our first person was Deval Patrick, like way to start off the whole summer. We talked to Rachel Rollins, we talked to like a bunch of professors, just crazy stuff where people have had years of experience in policy that we got to just really just like suck up the whole summer, which was awesome. And then the rest of the week we'd work at the internship site. So I worked for Boston City Councilor Andrea Campbell, who's now running for mayor of Boston, which is awesome. I can't believe it. I got to work on criminal justice policy, which was exactly what I wanted before. And then the national moment of criminal justice reform just happened to intersect at the exact moment I started my internship. And it was awesome. It was just a little different being not in the office, but you could still feel the energy. My team was awesome. It was all around just a great experience. And I learned a lot of skills not being in the office, but still maintaining communication and professionalism and all of those things. So I really appreciated it. I loved it. I met some really great people. Adrian was in it with me, a couple more people from UMass, the MPP program, a couple from Northeastern and the other UMass systems, but it's all like Massachusetts based, which I thought was really cool, more experience of Boston and like what goes on here. So if you're interested, that's something I feel like would be really great for just about everyone. Adrian.
Thanks, Ayla. So I actually had 2 internships, as I mentioned. My first internship was with my state representative, Representative Paul Mark of the 2nd Berkshire District. And it was just fantastic. He was so generous with his time and his wisdom. And I was able to kind of, let's see, like explore not only the region and the district and get to know what was going on outside of my little pretty local bubble here in Greenfield, but I was also able to go to the State House and just tap into a lot of different things, and of course expand my network with getting to know his staff, etc. So that was amazing. It was a really fun way to launch my work at SPP, like just my involvement altogether at SPP. And then last summer, as Ayla mentioned, I was also a Civic Action Project Fellow, which was an amazing opportunity. I won't go into too many details about it. She explained a lot of the fun from our once a week group meetings where we had guest speakers come in. But for the other 4 days of the week, we were working in our own placements. And so I was working at the Massachusetts Budget and Policy Center. And basically, I had just such a wonderful summer working at Mass Budget. And my internship actually ended up extending into a part-time position that I'm in now in this semester. So it was just wonderful to have as Ayla mentioned, the financial support to have a fully funded opportunity for that second internship, but then have the opportunity to work in a wonderful organization that extended into additional opportunities and networking. And I do want to say that, correct me if I'm wrong, Satu, I believe that there is funding support for internships through the School of Public Policy. If for some reason you aren't able to find an internship that does provide funding, the School of Public Policy will have your back. So
yeah, we've had many generous donors, including alumni, who've contributed to a fund to help support students who pursue internships in unpaid or very low paid positions. So that's definitely something that we intend to continue for as long as we can.
Right. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Ayla and Adrian and Satu. And so our next slide is, as mentioned, professional development opportunities. Providing that for our students is really, really important for us. us because we're really crucial about building your growth as an individual. And one of the ways we do that is by providing our professional development seminar, which I'll have Marcy expand on.
Great, thanks, Crystal. So yes, through the professional development seminar and other experiences, we hope to expose our students to all the really interesting and varied careers they can go into, from a Master in Public Policy or a Master in Public Policy and Administration. Some of our favorite moments are trips to Boston, trips to New York, trips to Washington, D.C., as well as bringing in great speakers to connect students with really interesting professionals in their field. And in terms of the professional development class itself, it's a 1-credit pass-fail required class for both programs. And it's a really hands-on class. It's a really applied class. And we do something kind of strange in that class. We do a lot of building. And we build things like the really strong foundational documents you're going to need to get that job you really love. So we create or improve your resume. We write and edit really powerful cover letters, those building blocks of your future career. We practice your interview skills and your negotiation skills, again, giving you that foundation to get the job you're going to love. And finally, we also facilitate and practice and teach networking and interpersonal and soft skills, again, giving you that foundation, that really strong base from which you're going to launch into your career. And we just want to be really proactive and strategic about that and walk you through that process so that as you're finishing the program, you're ready to launch into your job search, your internship search, and feel really supported and prepared.
Thank you, Marcy. And so now I'll give it to Satu to talk a little bit more about our amazing faculty and our funding opportunities.
Awesome. Thank you, Crystal. And thank you, Marcy. And I just want to add also to Marcy's that one of the wonderful things about our school is we have not just the alumni, the fantastic alumni on this panel, but we have alumni who really care about students in the program and jump at opportunities to connect with students and to mentor them and bring them in for internships and provide advice and all of those really helpful things. So of course, in addition to these wonderful students and staff, we have really accomplished faculty at the School of Public Policy who teach most of our courses. Our core courses are all taught by our core faculty. So we know that the quality of the courses is very high. They have areas of interest that or expertise that are, many are listed here on this slide, but also are beyond those areas. Because we're a multidisciplinary school, we have faculty who have joint appointments with departments that include planning and environmental conservation, sociology, anthropology, education, just to name a few. So whatever area of interest a student is interested in, there will be a faculty member or more than one that works in that area that can mentor them, guide them on independent research, help them think about careers in the field. Yeah, so these, as I said, are just a few of the examples of that. The other thing I was asked to talk about is funding. So we offer, maybe first I'll talk about the application requirements. So we do not require the GRE. It is optional. So if you do great on standardized tests and really want to include a GRE in your application, it is definitely welcome and considered. But if you don't want to, then it will not hurt your application in any way. So the requirements for the application are a completed application form, a statement of purpose, which doesn't have to be too long, just a couple pages about your interests, why you're interested in our program, your experience in public service, your aspirations in public policy and in a career in public service. We look for transcripts for all of your undergraduate work and graduate work if you've done other graduate work as well. And then we look for a couple of letters of recommendation from people who really know your work and can talk to your ability to do well in graduate school. We are doing rolling admissions, which have already opened up for next year. And the final deadline is April 15th. So if you do apply soon, you will hear back from us within just a few weeks. And funding, we do offer fellowships, which cover some of your tuition costs to all students who are admitted to the program. So unless you had, for some reason, your tuition waived in the program. So the fellowships usually, I think they come out to about a third of tuition. And as I mentioned, also we do have funding for internship support and also for travel for conferences and things like that. So that concludes the formal presentation. I know we've talked for a long time, so I wanted to make sure we have a little time here at the end to answer your questions. And on this slide, you can see our contact information, which I think we can also share in the chat room, if that's helpful. But now I'd like to open it up for questions for any of us or all of us.
I'll keep this slide up for a little bit, and then
Okay, great.
so folks can take down our information.
Can the the application be found on the website, or do we get that through email?
There is an application, a link to the application through our website, but you can also just go straight to the UMass Graduate School and hit apply and then choose our program, because our website would take you there anyway. So I would just go straight to UMass Graduate School.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, thank you all very much for your time. I was wondering if you might be able to speak to the advantage of going for the MPPA versus MPP in terms of job outcomes or professional opportunities.
That is a great question. It's interesting. I expected when we first started offering the MPP that the prospects wouldn't be as great because it is a shorter degree program and not quite as extensive. But we have had great placement for students in the MPP. I would say that the difference is in the MPPA, you do, as Adrienne spoke to, you get the opportunity to take more electives in your area of interest, so you can really build a strong foundation in a substantive area of interest. And also there are more courses in management and administration. So some students who are really interested and know they want to go into those areas go for the MPPA. But I haven't seen a huge difference in the range of positions that students have taken with the two different jobs or two different degrees. So were there other questions? I think there was another question in the.
And I would just highlight, if you're interested in doing a dual degree opportunity, that's usually the program that students go towards, the MPPA, because that's how you can do both.
Yeah, the MPP does not offer the duals. That's right, Crystal. And someone just asked, what is the workload like for your senior year in the 4+1? Maybe Ayla can talk to that.
Yes, I would love to. And I hate giving this answer, but it really depends on what it looks like for you. So I could tell you I was an undergrad with 2 majors. I did poli-sci and Spanish, and they're very different. And I felt like even with having to I completed my requirements up to the last day. I didn't have free time. I didn't have classes I could just take for fun. Unfortunately, they were all counting towards my majors pretty much, or my SPP degree. So even with that, it was very doable. And like I said before, it's not at all simple. I won't say easy because that depends on people's perspective, but it definitely wasn't a smooth sailing ship where it was just the same workload as my undergrad classes. There was more expectations of you in your classes. I had a class, my technology class was 7 people, which I thought was great. I don't ever usually have that. Poli-sci is a really big major. So 7 people with a fantastic professor, but I was expected to bring a lot to that class, not knowledge-wise, just effort. So I knew that, but I coupled that with classes that I felt I was pretty solid on for poli-sci, that I could try something new in SPP and not feel overwhelmed. In terms of the technicalities of that, you can count 7 credits of your undergrad year into your graduate year. And then I think, Sachi, let me know if this is wrong, because I didn't do this part. I didn't have extra time, like I said. But if you feel like, oh, I'm done my degree, I have more time to take more grad classes, you can count up to, 5 additional?
5 additional, yeah, you can count a total of 12 credits taken as an undergrad towards your graduate degree. 7 are double counted, so they don't add anything to your workload. But then some students are already finishing their undergrad, have their 120 credits that UMass requires. So anything beyond 120 up to the 5 credits can be transferred in. So for a total of 12. And actually a good number of students do that as well.
Yeah, and that's a really good point to bring up, Sachi, for clarification, because it's kind of confusing what those credits will look like. So the 7 credits that I did, which is 2 core classes and then the professional development, those were counted as my undergraduate, that 120 credits I needed, those counted towards that. And then they also counted towards SPP's master degree.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like I just took extra time out of my undergrad to find these like classes to fit in. They just counted for both programs, which was really, really helpful for me.
Yeah.
I hope that answers your question, because I think that's very important. If you have another one, please feel free to follow up.
Great, thank you, Ayla. And Marcy, I wonder if you could answer the next question about examples of jobs in the public sector that you can do with this degree.
Sure, there's a huge, huge range of jobs you can go into. So you can go into federal government work, state government work, local and city and town government work. You can go into nonprofits. We have people who are leading nonprofits, fundraising at nonprofits, doing policy analysis at nonprofits. You can go into think tanks and be doing research and paper writing. You can go into business from a policy degree. We have some students who go into work with traditional businesses, some who have gone to work at cooperatives. We have people who go into economic development. And then, of course, with all of our dual degree programs, we have lots of people going into education, education policy, public health policy, business, business policy and beyond. Who am I forgetting for our dual degrees? And then lots of others, like people go into arts management. Basically, you name it, if it's got management or policy or leadership or thoughtful, meaningful work, you can go into it from this degree. So it's just a huge range of possibilities, which is a really exciting thing about this degree. It's also a little overwhelming, which is why we make an effort to slowly, methodically, thoughtfully introduce you to people working in all of those sectors, so you can find out what that sector is like, find out what that job is like, find out what that organization is like, visualize yourself in that role, talk to an alumni one-on-one and find out what do they love about their job, what makes them crazy about their job, and you can sort of imagine and try on for fit lots of different careers as a student. Find one that's a great starting point for you in your career after school.
That's awesome. Thank you, Marcy. So a couple people here asked about courses being online, and right now all courses look like this on Zoom. And I think we're anticipating that for spring, but typically we are in person. The MPPA is mostly fully in person for 4 semesters, and the MPP has summer online courses, but then is in person for 2 semesters. I don't know what's going to happen moving forward. I cannot predict these things, but I anticipate that eventually we'll go back to our typical format, but we might, because of all the things we've learned about online teaching and course development this way, or course providing courses this way, that might be something that changes in the future. But at this time, I haven't heard anything about that. And then another student asked about, is currently a junior, but plans to graduate a semester early. So if you're planning to do that, I would encourage you to reach out to me or to Crystal to discuss your particular situation. But students have done that before. They graduate early and then they just start taking graduate courses after they graduate. But it does change your order of courses a little bit. So it is something we would want to talk to you about. So have we answered every question? I'm trying to keep up with all this. Okay. Oh, someone asked, Jillian asked about the 4+1 as a Smith student. If you are interested in the joint degree, the MPPA program might be a better fit. But we've had many students go into education policy who did not do the dual degree, because you can still take courses in the School of Ed as electives and still graduate with an MPP and work in that sector. So the 4+1 might still be more attractive to you. But again, Crystal or I would be happy to talk to you in detail about your particular situation.
Hi.
Ayla, for putting in your contact info.
Alexander, you want to ask your question? Alexander Naki? I see your hand.
Yes, I just typed it into the chat. But at first, thank you for this presentation. I found it really informative. I'm wondering specifically about the dual degree program in higher education. How exactly does that program work in terms of when you take the courses? Is it something that when you're applying for admission, you have to start off by applying to that program, or can you add it on later in your time? Let's say if you started off by doing the 2-year MPPA.
Crystal, do you want to speak to that since you did the degree?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so you do apply to both schools separately. But when you do get in the program, we actually encourage students to do 1 year of one program first, taking those core requirements, and then the second year doing those core courses, and then your last year you would do a mix of both to finish up the degrees. And so that's usually how the course sequencing works. And then we provide students just a kind of like a course plan or a suggested timeline of what that looks like. So you don't go in it kind of blind, but that's usually how it works. But you do have to apply to both. But you do have, you will just, acknowledge that you are applying for the dual degree program. There is that option. And both departments work together in regards to that in terms of getting you notification on where you stand with both programs.
And I think education has kind of an early deadline compared to some other dual programs, like December 15th, I believe.
Yep.
So it's just good to keep an eye on that one.
Yeah, and that goes for all programs, actually. Some of the other departments may have different deadlines that you need to be aware of. Just for example, like public health right now, their priority consideration deadline is December 15th, but their overall deadline is February 1st, while ours is April 15th, and we're doing rolling admissions. And so if you are thinking about doing any dual degree opportunity, you want to really pay attention to those deadlines.
I just have a quick question. I just have a quick question. So I know you, first of all, thanks for putting this together. This is actually, I've been meaning to ask and talk to someone from SPP regarding graduate courses and everything that entails. So this has actually been very helpful. But my question is, so I know you said everything obviously now is remote learning due to what's going on. So my concern is, so I already, first of all, work in the public sector right now in downtown Boston. I went to UMass Amherst for undergraduate and I graduated 5 years ago. But my concern is if I elect to sorry, I'm lost for words right now. Submit my application and let's say I get accepted to the program. My concern is that it starts off remote, like everything's going now, but then let's say fall of 2021 or summer, whatever, it switches to in-person. I feel like that's not super feasible for people who are working and can't really afford to quit their jobs to be coming back to Amherst for an in-residence type of situation. So that's just my concern, is that I would have to either cut it short, stop there or switch schools or something. So how can that be dealt with where people start remote and then, like, let's say UMass says, okay, it's fine to come back to school a year from now, but you can't. Like, what happens then, I guess, is one of my questions. I have a question after that, but yeah, I'll stop there.
Yeah, well, this is definitely a question that is very unique to this period of time. Yeah, like I said, we do plan to do courses remotely next semester, but that's the only semester I can guarantee that will be happening. Otherwise, like I said, the programs are in person for at least a majority, for at least 2 semesters of the program. So I cannot anticipate what's going to happen next year. So I would think about that if you're applying, because if you're applying, you wouldn't be starting anyway until summer or next fall, and then things might be very different. So I would definitely think about whether it's the right program.
Okay, no, thank you for that. Okay, so I guess a follow up on that is, so the earliest would be sometime in June or July. Actually, I forget when summer courses start, but sometime basically in the summer would be the earliest someone could start. I'm specifically referring to the MPP program. Is that correct?
That would be the earliest for applications right now, would be starting this summer. One thing you could, if you're interested, you could take courses as a non-degree student online in the spring semester. And then the program does allow you to transfer 6 of those credits into the program if you're admitted as a full-time student. So that's a way to get some credits under your belt, but still you still have just those 2 classes plus the summer classes. So you'd still have a bit to go after that.
Okay, and then my second question, which is simpler, is for people who have been working in industry, like I said, I've been in 5 years working specifically in the public sector for the Commonwealth. Is there a potential? I think I read online that there's a potential for a waiver for the internship component. How does that work? And, like, do you have any more specifics in terms of who would be eligible more narrowly?
Yeah, definitely you would be eligible to just apply for waiver, as it requires, I think, 2 years of experience. So you would just apply to waive the requirement. It sounds like, given your experience, that wouldn't be a problem.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Of course. And Kathleen, I see you asked a question about working. You'll be part-time if accepted. Right now, we do not have core courses in the summer, but we do have elective courses in the summer that you could definitely take. Yeah. And then you can also take courses in other departments, graduate level courses that could transfer in to our
Thank
program.
you.
And Kathleen, we also can connect you with like current part-time students and kind of give you an idea of like how they've been managing work and then doing classes.
Yeah. We have a lot of
Satu and I actually spoke in the winter.
Oh, okay.
and then everything happened and it was, I just,
things have changed. So everything happened.
So I'm re-entering.
That's awesome.
So,
I'm glad.
Awesome.
All right.
Thanks.
Oh, thank you for coming, Kathleen. All right. Any other questions? This is so fun.
I know, right?
We were saying usually we serve food to bring people to these meetings, and we wish we could, but
Coffee, food,
pizza.
Pizza, important.
Hopefully that will someday soon we'll be doing that again. But. All right. So we will, I think we have everyone's contact information. If we don't, if you could put your email in the chat box if you didn't register for this, just so we can be in touch, or you can be in touch. I think most of us put our emails in the chat box as well. But it was really great to see everyone, and maybe not see everyone, see some of your names, but to hopefully answer some of your questions. And we are always happy to take questions and happy to be contacted if you have any other questions going forward.